Welcome aboard Just Jets with your captain, Matt O'Leary. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with episode number 20 of Just Jets. Boy, can you believe that? It's been 20 episodes already. I can't, man. It's been a ton of fun doing this with you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed it. So wherever you are listening to this show, please make sure to subscribe. Give a rating, review. It really helps me out a lot. I really appreciate it. Boy, 20 weeks in a row talking New York Jets football, answering voicemails, all that fun stuff. I love it. And I'm implementing something new to the channel, and you might have seen it already. I am doing a series, What If Adam Gase Was Never Hired? And that's a little facetious, obviously, because, well, essentially what it is, I created myself in Madden 20, and I am playing out the Jets 2019 season. The reason for it, obviously, I know I will never be an NFL coach. Like, can we take a step back? I understand some people were a little bit taking things too literally in that. But the thing I wanted to do was implement a little bit more video game content on the channel, Madden specific. This is a football channel, this is a Jets channel, that's not going to change, but I'm just going to implement a little bit more Jets content, Jets Madden content. I understand that it's not going to be for everyone, and that's completely fine. If you're not interested, you don't have to tune in. I'm not forcing anybody to, but I'm just trying to expand and maybe reach a little bit of a different audience that maybe I haven't hit yet. That's the main premise behind it, and I just wanted to, put that out there because I kind of dropped the first episode. Episode 2 is going to come out on Tuesday, and then episode 3 on Thursday. I kind of just dropped that without much context, so I could understand why maybe it was a little confusing to people, and part of that's on me, but again, I just wanted to try something a little bit different, and if I hit a little bit of a different audience, that's really what I'm looking to do. I want to grow this thing, and I enjoy doing what I have done on the channel, and, that's not going to change. There's still going to be the podcast every week. There's still going to be the short form, 5-minute videos on a topic, 3, 4, 5 videos of those a week, and we're just going to get after it, man. Again, I just wanted to try something a little bit different. I've been out of the video game scene probably for, almost 10 years. I'm going to say probably 2011 was the last time I was really into playing video games. But yeah, so that's kind of fun. It's been interesting trying to learn the controls and stuff like that. Like I said, if you're interested, new episode Tuesday, 8 p.m. I'm usually in the chat talking. So again, I'm really excited about it, and I hope it does well. So with that, just wanted to get that PSA out of the way. And now the main topic that I wanted to talk about before I get into the voicemails was obviously the Jamal Adams stuff has been pretty heavy for the last couple of weeks, and that's going to be understandably so. It's a huge story. So spinning off of that slightly, Manish Mehta came out and reported that the reason why Jamal Adams doesn't want to be here is because of Adam Gase. And I have made it pretty clear my feelings on Adam Gase. I don't like him as a head coach. I think he's been riding Peyton Manning's coattails for the last half decade, right? I'm not a fan of this guy. I don't want him to be the head coach of the Jets. I get that. But I don't know if I could buy it coming from Manish Mehta. I don't buy it, to be completely honest with you, because these stories have been coming out about Jamal Adams for seemingly forever. He wants to get his. He wants to get paid. And I understand that. I don't think he fully gets the business side of the NFL, and I think he takes things a little bit personally. That doesn't change that I think that Jamal's a great player. I hope that it works out. I don't think it's going to, but if something snaps and he says, "Oh, I'm being a jerk. I'm sorry. I could wait to get paid, $16 million a year starting, next year after this season," then great. That's good for the Jets. But I don't necessarily think it's going that way. And last week, what I did in the monologue or the open was I talked about who was at blame. Is it Adam Gase? Is it Jamal Adams? Is it Joe Douglas? And I still believe that most of the blame is going on Jamal Adams in this instance. I really don't think that Gase is the one to blame. And not everyone in the locker room likes Gase. I'm going to understand that. But he had a couple of guys come to his defense. I can't believe I'm in a position now where it seems like I'm defending Gase. I think that proves that I don't have an agenda. I have so many people come on in the comments saying that, I just drive home one point. Not necessarily true. I don't like the guy, but I'm going to defend him right now because I believe that he's in the right. Both Alex Lewis and CJ Mosley came to the defense of Adam Gase. Lewis was just brought in, understandably, but CJ Mosley was brought in here to be a leader. No denying that. And I understand that CJ Mosley doesn't really deal with Adam Gase a whole lot. He's more dealing with Greg Williams, but Mosley doesn't have an issue with Gase. And Mosley's someone, yeah, Adams is one of the captains on the defense, but Mosley's really the leader of that defense. Jamal's loud. Jamal's the better player, but Mosley's like having a head coach on the field at middle linebacker. He does a little bit of everything. I'm excited to watch him play in 2020, but that's besides the point, really. While I do believe that Adam Gase is a very flawed head coach, and I do think he rubs people the wrong way. We saw it with Kelechi Osemele. We saw it with Quincy Enunwa. There's been other, in his past in Miami. I think you kind of either love him or you hate him. So I think it's not many guys are going to be lukewarm on him. That being said, I think that this, whether it's a Manish Maida just spinning it because he doesn't like Adam Gase, that's abundantly clear. Meanwhile, this is the guy who praised the hiring when it first happened and then did a complete 180 on it, which is just wild. This is the same guy who said that Logan Ryan was going to sign with the Jets. Was still waiting on that one. He hasn't been right all the time, and he likes to stir up drama. So I'm not necessarily buying this as fact. And just because it could potentially push a narrative that I would like, which is getting, Adam Gase out of here, I'm not buying it because of where it's coming from. Right? If this could be completely different. Like if multiple people are saying this, fine. Right? On the Jets beat. Multiple people on the Jets beat. Like not a rumor. It all goes back to who's this stuff coming from. And I can't trust it coming from Manish. I really can't. And I think that when you're seeing guys like Alex Lewis, who's a veteran, been around the league for a little bit, Mosley, one of the leaders on this team, come out and defend their coach, I think it's them almost saying like, nah, that's not the reason for why Jamal wants out. The reason why I think Jamal wants out is he wants to be in a winning place. The guy won at LSU. He's a good player at LSU, obviously, taken high. And then the past 3 years have been a wreck with the Jets. There's no denying that. And he wants to get paid. But at the same time, if he did really want to be here, wouldn't you think that he wouldn't say, oh, yeah, if you trade me to one of these 7 teams, I don't necessarily need a contract extension right away. This is either Manish or Jamal's camp doing damage control. Because Jamal has turned into the bad guy. In a lot of people's eyes. Some people are still defending him, and I get it. A lot of people are going to ride or die for Jamal Adams. He's that kind of player. And I totally understand that and respect that from the fans' point of view. I really do. But in my opinion, what I think is the case, I think that Jamal's camp is doing damage control because they see how poorly this has gone. They've seen the videos of him saying that he's trying to get traded to Dallas. They've seen everything that's gone on in the past week or multiple weeks now at this point, and they're saying, wow, we look like the bad guys. But Jamal hasn't changed his tone. So what do? You leak a story that it's the head coach is the issue. The guy that most of the fan base can't stand. That's how you get people back on your side. It's almost like a political game. It's so wild. It really is. But I don't think I could sit here comfortably today and say, okay, that's it. Jamal said, or it was Manish Maida said that Jamal doesn't want to be here because of Adam Gase. Then that's fact. Based on everything we've heard from every one of these camps. Jets camp, Manish Maida camp, Jamal Adams camp. Can't trust it. Jamal's the same guy who said that he's not going to be a problem for the Jets. He's built different. He's going to change the culture. I'm still waiting for the culture change, because last I checked, from 2016 to now, still losing games. The only thing that changes culture is winning football games, or the biggest thing that changes culture is winning football games. Jamal's turned into the problem. He's turned into the guy that he said he wasn't going to be. And yes, I understand it's completely different because it's not like he's out there breaking the law. And I'm happy that Jamal's been good to Jets fans for the most part. For instance, like staying later to sign for guys and, being there for kids and stuff like that. I love that. I really do. And I respect Jamal Adams in that instance. But I think he's really handled this situation completely wrong. And he said that he was going to come out and tell the truth, the real story. Right? He said that in an Instagram comment. That was a week ago. Where is it? All we've seen is him driving around in his cool car talking about how he's going to be traded to Dallas or how he wants to be traded to Dallas. It's bogus. I don't buy it. I'm not buying that Adam Gase is the problem in this instance. Believe me, there is a ton of reasons to move on from Adam Gase as a head coach. Jamal Adams, 2 weeks after saying he wants to be traded, saying that it's Adam Gase's fault, is not one of the reasons. This isn't on Gase. I'm sorry. This is on Jamal because it all stems back to the trade deadline last year. And I sound like a broken record. I really do. But Jamal Adams taking offense to Joe Douglas answering the phone about potential trades on a team that was way, way, way out of the playoffs is insanity. He just doesn't get that it's a business. And I really think it's him and his camp that's at fault. And while I don't like the head coach, I've been very clear about my stance on Adam Gase. This specific situation is not on Adam Gase. And I'm comfortable saying that. All right, we're going to get into your questions now. First one actually comes from Instagram. It's James from Old Westbury. He has a 3-way trade that he wants to talk about. So his proposal is that Jamal goes to Dallas, Dallas's first rounder goes to the Jaguars, and Yannick Ngakoue goes to the Jets. I don't think that's enough from the Jets' perspective. You're onto something here, James. But I think a mid-round pick has to come back, probably from Dallas. So let's say a third-round pick comes back from Dallas. They send their first-round pick to the Jaguars, and Yannick goes to the Jets. Then, okay, we're onto something. But you're close. I think you're very close on that one, James. We're going to go to the voicemails now. First one is Mike from Port St. Lucie, and he wants to talk about Jamal Adams being a cancer in the locker room.
Hey, Matt. It's Mike from Port St. Lucie, Florida. Just wanted to say I really enjoy your show.
Thank you.
A little long-winded on Jamal Adams, but on that topic,
Naturally.
Joe Douglas is trying to change the culture there, bringing in guys as the team captains, good attitude, team-first kind of guys. That said, Jamal's got to go, okay? He's a cancer, and he's going to be that because he's not happy. So he's got to go, period, end of story. These guys should be thankful that they're playing in the NFL, making the millions of dollars that they're making. You know, they do everything they can to be bad citizens of the league. I don't want to get into the kneeling for the flag thing, but, you know, that's just one instance. These guys should just be thankful. Like I said, be a team guy, be a good employee. You know, you don't get 30% raises. Be quiet, play the game. You know, do what you need to do, put up good tape, you'll get paid. So that's it. That's my thoughts on it. I got no trade ideas, but go Jets, hopefully.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, so with some of that, I do believe that Joe Douglas is trying to change the culture. And I think right now Jamal Adams is hindering that by being so dramatic. I think that's the way that I'm comfortable wording it, is being dramatic about what's been going on. I don't know if the kneeling really has a correlation. I don't really want to get into the kneeling stuff. But in terms of Jamal being a cancer, it's because of his voice, and it's going to rub people the wrong way when he's making it all about him and instead of the team, right? In a team sport, that really happens. That sometimes happens. It's unfortunate. It seems like, from what I've been hearing, not saying that I have sources inside the room, but just things that I've heard from people that I know, is that at first it seemed like players were like, yeah, all right, good for Jamal, he's got to get paid. But now, how this has continued to spiral out of control, it's starting to change. And I think it's going to be real, real awkward if he has to show up to camp or if he has to play on that team this year. I think he's digging himself a hole that he knows he can't get out of. And he's doing it because he wants out that badly. And I mean, look at it. He is willing to accept the trade and not sign an extension with another team. That tells you all you need to know. He doesn't want to be here. It sucks, but it's as simple as that. It really is in my eyes. Thank you for the question, Mike. Next up is Josh from Woodmere. And he wants to talk about the wide receiver room if they make a trade.
Hey Matt, it's Josh from Woodmere. I just want to know your thoughts on if the Jets were to trade Adams for, Gallup or Godwin or, one of those 1,000-yard receivers. Obviously, that receiver would come in and start, and along with Crowder. And then who do you think would take the number 3 receiver spot, Mims or Perriman? Who would you put in as the number 3 wide receiver, and who do you think Gase would put in as the number 3 wide receiver? I would want to put in Mims, but I feel like Gase would put in probably Perriman because he has experience. So, yeah, just wanted to know who would you put in, and who do you think the coach put in? And, thank you. Go Jets.
Appreciate the question. So, instead of looking at so much as a number 1, number 2, number 3 receiver, let's look at it as 2 outside receivers and a slot receiver, because Crowder is going to be the slot receiver, and then let's say one of those guys you trade for is going to be another outside receiver. So essentially you have one more outside receiver spot in a starting role, and it would be between Mims and Perriman. I tend to believe that they would lean Perriman. And the reason for that is you could kind of then ease Mims into the league. Perriman maybe initially has the higher ceiling, but he's only on a 1-year deal. So I think their plan, and I guess that to an extent this would be my plan, and you need more than 3 wide receivers. It's not like Mims wouldn't play at all, is that you just have Perriman as the placeholder. He plays for you this year, and then at that point, Mims could take over as a starter in 2021. I think that's what the plan would be. I think that's the direction that I would go. I would be cool with that, having Mims then be, I guess, the number 4 receiver or the first one, not starting, because we know that Crowder's going to start in the slot. We know that wide receiver that they would trade for, whether it be Gallup or Godwin or whoever, would be a starter on the outside. And then I'd assume that they'd go Perriman, and I think I'd probably go with a mix of the two, to be quite honest with you, but I think they would lean more Perriman and then look to move on. Or if he's playing really well and you're out of it and Mims is showing that he could do something, you flip him for a mid-round pick at the trade deadline. Something like that. But I think they would start the year with Perriman and go from there. Next up is Mario from Long Beach, and he wants to talk about actually paying Jamal Adams. So let's hear out Mario.
Hey, Matt, it's Mario from Long Beach. Just calling on the Jamal Adams situation. Now, what we need to think about here is, in this league, you win with impact players. This is an impact player, not only on the field, but in the locker room. It's time to pony up and pay this guy. Now, in your previous videos, you have mentioned that $20 million is off the charts, which I agree. But offer him something, because you got to realize this guy plays with his heart and his soul, and on any play, his career could end, and he's not making a lot of money right now. So he needs to protect himself, too. And as the Jets, we need to protect our great players. We don't have a lot of them. This is a homegrown guy. I was not happy about losing Robbie Anderson. Let's not use Jamal Adams. What are your thoughts on this, Mike?
I get where you're coming from. I really do, Mario. And I think I heard my video in the background, which is really funny. That'll never get old to me. That's so crazy. But anyway, I get this side of the argument. I really do. In a perfect world, yes, Jamal Adams stays. But I don't think you could pay him yet. That's been my take about all this. In a perfect world, I would like to extend Jamal Adams after this year. I don't want to pay him now. And there's a reason why a majority of the 2017 draft class hasn't gotten paid yet. Mahomes hasn't gotten paid. Watson hasn't gotten paid. There's a lot of guys on this list who haven't gotten paid yet. And now I know I'm not saying that it's right to ride him out for his 4th year, then pay him his 5-year option, and then franchise him, and then franchise him again. Yes, technically you could do that. That's 4 more years. And you have him under control for 2 more years. I'm not even saying right out the 2 more years with the 4th year of the contract and then the 5th year of the 5th-year option. I just say ride out this year, year 4, with the rookie contract. Most rookies, a majority of rookies, are going to play 4 years on their rookie deal and then get paid. Far majority. And just because he's yelling and screaming, I don't think you or Joe Douglas, as the metaphorical you, should give in to that guy. I don't think that's right. I think it sets a bad precedent. I really do. And, you know, we talk about Jamal Adams being an impact player. And he's a very, very good player. Very good. Probably the best at his possession. Probably. The record is still awful since he's been drafted. Went 5-11, 4-12, and 7-9. They could have a losing record without him too. They could. Now, I would like him to be a building block of this future, of this team for the future. But if Jamal Adams isn't on this roster in the last 3 years, how much different is their win-loss record? Maybe 3 games over the entire 3-year period in the other direction? So 1 game a year difference. Maybe they go 4-12, 3-13, and 6-10. He plays the safety, and he does a lot more than the average safety. I know, I really do. But it's different. And I know a lot of people compare this to the Revis situation, but it's not. Revis was shutting down wide receivers at will in 2009 and 2010. At will. Cornerback's a premium position in the NFL. Premium position. Edge rusher. Premium position in the NFL. Safety's not. It's not. And that's why he doesn't want to be branded as a safety. He says, I'm so much more than a safety. But he's not out there holding Calvin Johnson in his prime to 30 yards. Or he's not out there holding Andre Johnson to 2 catches. It's different. It really is. And Revis had the bigger impact on those defenses than Jamal Adams has had on any of the defenses that they've had. It's as simple as that. And I like Jamal on the field. I think he's a great player. I can't justify paying him yet. It's still too early. It's still too early to me. Next up, we're going to go to Liam in Manhattan. It has Jamal Adams trade. Or we're going to talk about Jamal Adams trade. Sorry.
Hey, what's up, Matt? Always good speaking to you. So, I'm Liam from Manhattan. And my question for today is, in regards to trading Jamal Adams, would you rather trade him for an offensive piece, maybe like a wide receiver or interior offensive lineman maybe, or would you rather trade him for a defensive piece or a mixture of both, along with some draft picks? That's my question. Have a nice day. Go Jets.
Thank you so much, Liam, for calling in. This is an interesting question. This is a good question. In a perfect world, I think I would look to add a wide receiver and a pick, or an elite offensive lineman and a pick. And the reason for that is I know you're losing a player in your defense. You would think that you'd want to add another defensive piece. And I have said that I like Yannick Ngakoue as a potential trade option. Again, we just talked about premium positions. Edge is a premium position, so that's slightly different. But the Jets have ignored the offensive side of the ball for the better part of the last decade. I mean, think about it. From pretty much the Rex Ryan era on, it's been so defense heavy in free agency, in drafts, in trades. You have to overcompensate at this point for the years and years and years and years of neglect that the offensive side of the ball has gotten. The defense was top 10 in DVOA last year. They were 31st in offensive DVOA. Now, granted, they made some additions, but if you trade Jamal and you go from 10th to between 15th and 20th in defensive DVOA, but if, let's say, you add a number 1 receiver or a star offensive lineman and another draft pick, and that offense jumps from 31 up to, let's say, 15, you can get by in this league with the 15th best offense and the 15th, or the middle of the road offense and a middle road defense. You can get by with that. It's very, very difficult to get by with the bottom tier offense in this league. The saying is that defense wins championships. And to an extent, it's true. To an extent. But you have to put up points in this league. How the game is going, you have to be able to score points. And you have to be able to put up yardage. The Jets can't do that, or they haven't been able to do that. Last year was pitiful. Pitiful to watch. Throw out the three non-Darnold games, which was just a disgrace to the sport of football. Disgrace to the sport of football. And even down some of the games down the stretch, like there were times when the Jets were scoring one offensive touchdown with Sam Darnold in the game. And that can't happen. And I'm not putting that on necessarily all on Sam Darnold. I'm really not. I'm high on him going forward. It falls back to the coach and the lack of weapons around the quarterback. I believe you found the quarterback in Sam Darnold. I think he is a franchise quarterback. They don't have a ton of pieces around him. They finally just addressed the offensive line. Skill positions besides that, Herndon's good. I like that. I hope he can stay healthy. I really do. Ryan Griffin's a decent tight end. I'll give you that. At the wide receiver position, there's a lot of question marks. A lot of question marks. Crowder's very good. He's a very good slot receiver. On the outside, Perryman's had 5 good games in his career. Essentially, the last 5 games of the year has been the best sample size of his career. Other than that, hasn't been much. You're looking at a rookie wide receiver on the other side. I like Denzel Mims a lot. I think he probably should have been a first-round talent. There's no denying that. But to expect him to come in and put up 900-plus receiving yards in year 1, it's a bit ambitious. After that, Josh Doxson? We're talking about Josh Doxson as the next wide receiver after those 2 guys. The 3 guys. Life isn't exactly easy for Sam Darnold in the offense. So in my long-winded response, yes, Liam, I think I would rather address the offense in a trade for involving Jamal Adams because of how much it's been neglected over the last few years. Next up is Phil, and we're going to talk a little bit about Adam Gase and why Phil doesn't like Adam Gase. So I'm down to hear it out. Let's see.
Hey, Matt, it's Phil. What I want to talk about is Adam Gase and how much I dislike him. So we all saw Darnold yelling at Adam Gase, which shocks me because Darnold seems like a guy that would never yell at someone in anger. Personally, that's what I think. Also, I don't see how the Johnsons could have Cliff Kingsbury and Matt Rule and all these other coaches and pick Adam Gase out of all of them. It doesn't seem like anyone in the locker room respects him, and I think he needs to be fired immediately. And I think Manish Mehta, who we all know is the worst reporter of all time, says Jamal Adams might be leaving because of Adam Gase. If this is true, which I doubt, because it's Manish, I wouldn't be surprised about it. I think Adam Gase is horrible, and he's horrible to his locker room. Let me know what you think, and go Jets.
Yeah, so for the most part, I agree with you on Adam Gase. I don't think he's a good coach, and it's mind-numbing that Cliff Kingsbury and Matt Rule can come in through that door, and you somehow pick Adam Gase between those 2. I, to this day, am baffled by that decision. I truly am. It seemed like, I remember the day so clearly. It seemed like it was down between Matt Rule and Mike McCarthy. And it looked like that day Matt Rule was the favorite of those 2. And I was excited about it. He was my number 1 choice. And I've talked about Matt Rule a ton ever since then. And from before then too. But Matt Rule, I really wanted Cliff Kingsbury, but I knew that he wasn't going to be. I figured it was between those 2. Adam Gase came out of nowhere. It was very, very bizarre. I would truly never understand that. But I really don't, Liam, I don't, or Phil, sorry, Liam's next. I got messed up. I really don't think that Jamal leaving or wanting to leave has anything to do with Adam Gase. I don't. I don't buy it. I think this is, I said it earlier, but I think this is him doing damage control because he realized, oh crap, I now look like the villain and I look like the bad guy. So who could I pass the blame on to? Let's leak out to Manish Mehta. And again, we got to look at where that's coming from. Manish has been wrong and stirred the pot on so many things. He's lost any and all credibility. He got ripped to shreds by Alex Lewis on Instagram this week. CJ Mosley came out and said he disagreed with what Manish Mehta was saying this week. I don't buy it. I really don't. And that's coming from someone who really does not like Adam Gase at all. So I'll take that for what it's worth. Next up is Liam from Sayville, and he wants to talk about trading Jamal.
Hey, Matt, this is Liam from Sayville. My question is, do you want to keep Jamal on the Jets, or do you want to trade him? If you do want to trade him, where do you want to trade him to, and what do you want the compensation to be? Thanks, and as always, go Jets.
So in a perfect world, Liam, I would like him to stay. If in a perfect world, you pay him $15-16 million a year after this year. I just don't think that's going to happen. So if you're trading him, he wants to go to Dallas. So Michael Gallup and a pick would be great. A CD Lamb and a pick would be great. I feel like they'd be more likely to move Gallup, though, because I don't see how you pay him coming up soon. And CD Lamb is going to cost you essentially nothing for the first 4 years of his career on the rookie deal. So I think moving Gallup makes more sense. I think that I would like that a ton. Yannick Ngakoue is intriguing to me as well. So Jacksonville. I don't think Tampa Bay is really all that realistic. But I think Gallup is brought up a lot because it makes a ton of sense. So I'll say Gallup and a pick is really what I want for Jamal Adams. Next up is Drew from North Carolina, and he wants to talk about some of the substance abuse policy changes in the league and how that could affect potentially some guys trying to come back into the league.
Hey, Matt, this is Drew from Charlotte, North Carolina. I just wanted to call and talk to you about potentially signing a wide receiver. With this, first of all, I agree with you that I don't want Antonio Brown on the team. First off, I don't even think it would happen. But past Antonio Brown, with the NFL lightening the substance abuse policy, what's your thoughts on signing a guy like Josh Gordon or even Martavis Bryant, guys who have really struggled with the substance abuse policy? But now the NFL, I believe, is only testing once a year, and they're not suspending players if they test positive for marijuana. So I say, what's the problem in bringing in a Josh Gordon or Martavis Bryant? I really think they could help the team. What's your thoughts?
Thank you for the question. I really appreciate it. I definitely agree that the Jets need help at the wide receiver position. There's no denying that. When it comes to those three specifically, it worries me slightly because due to their suspensions, they haven't played a ton. So you could be working out on your own and staying in shape is one thing, but staying in game shape is a little bit different. And when we talk about building a culture, do you necessarily want a guy like that? Again, there's a lot worse things. There's a lot of players in the league who are playing right now that have done worse things that get suspended for marijuana. Not denying that. I just don't know if Joe Douglas, what his take on it would be. Whether it'd be, okay, yeah, I'm willing to give him another shot, or, nah, I'm all set there. Let's bring in a high character guy. Antonio Brown's a definite no. I could maybe walk back Gordon or Bryant slightly, but at that point, I might rather just go with a safer route and Demaryius Thomas, who knows the offense, who could potentially mentor Denzel Mims. Because if I wanted to look at who would I feel most comfortable with mentoring my young receiver, would it be Gordon, Bryant, or Demaryius Thomas? I think Demaryius Thomas is the answer. I think the risk is a little bit higher than what the reward could yield. So I'm going to pass on those guys. But I am happy that the NFL is kind of getting away from going so heavy on the substance abuse in terms of marijuana, because it's becoming more legal in different states as more states legalize it, and it's becoming decriminalized in a lot of areas. Again, I just said it, but there's a lot of guys in this league who have done much worse things than get suspended from the NFL for smoking marijuana, for smoking weed. And it's hard for me to get as worked up on those guys as it is about some of the other things that guys have done. Tyreek Hill. Just Google his name, and you'll know what I'm talking about. So thank you, Drew, for the question. I still think I would pass on those guys and just kind of go a quote unquote safer route, because really the Jets just need another, like a fourth wide receiver on the depth chart. I don't know. It's still a little bit of a risk to me in my eyes. Next up is KJ from New Jersey. Wants to talk Manish Mehta / Adam Gase.
Hey, Matt, this is KJ from Bayonne, New Jersey. First off, just want to say great job on the podcast. Love tuning in. But I don't know so much as a question, but kind of a rant. I read yesterday Manish Mehta of the New York Daily News saying that the reason Jamal Adams wants out is because of Adam Gase. I actually commented, I believe last week on your one of your YouTube clips talking about Jamal Adams saying that, if I remember correctly, all this stuff started after the Cleveland game on Monday night. I remember stories coming out that he changed his Twitter information, basically deleting everything that affiliated him with the Jets, and this kind of raised some flags. So maybe this is all going back to that, where after that loss, Jamal Adams basically lost all faith in Adam Gase. But where I'm at as a Jets fan, and I probably could tell from what you've said about the Jets and Adam Gase, that if the choice is Adam Gase or Jamal Adams, Adam Gase needs to be gone yesterday. So I just want to get the word out there to you, and maybe it's time to start the grassroots campaign amongst yourself, other podcasters, and whoever. Maybe it's time we start flying over Florham Park with, fire Adam Gase like they did Isaac 5 years ago. This is absolutely ridiculous that this guy's been a bum, had one winning season outside of having Peyton Manning as his quarterback, and all of a sudden he's supposed to be the guy. We saw the mass exodus of talent when he was with Miami. If guys don't want to play here and we're losing, one of the best players we've had over the last 10 years, the only other ones that come to mind, maybe John Abraham, Darrelle Revis, maybe Jonathan Vilma. If he wants out because this guy's that bad, we need a new coach. So just want to send that out there, and maybe we can get the voice going on that. Take care.
Yeah, so I do have a Fire Adam Gase shirt in the store, link down below in the description, by the way. And I believe that someone did fly on their own personal plane a Fire Adam Gase banner. I'm almost positive of that. But anyway, I do get it. If it did come down to the choice of Adam Gase or Jamal Adams, then obviously, yeah, I'm with you 100%. Jamal Adams is the choice. I just don't know if which I've kind of, is what I've stuck to the majority of this episode, is I don't know if I'm buying that Adam Gase is the issue here in this specific instance. I think Jamal just is done. I don't think he wants to play here, and I don't think it's because of Gase. I think he either wants to get paid, he's tired of the losing. There's really a lot that goes into this, man. It sucks. I don't see a way in this works out. If there was a world, in this alternative world, let's say if the Jets fire Adam Gase, then Jamal says, okay, I'm cool, I'll play this year and then sign. Yeah, I'm doing that in a second. Of course, man, I'm totally down. I don't think it's that simple. I don't think it's that easy. So that's where I guess I differ in that one. Next up is Jack from New Jersey, and he wants to talk about Jamal Adams' trade scenario.
Hey, Matt, it's Jack from New Jersey. Just have a question on the Jamal Adams trade, possible trade. So do you think if we traded him for La'el Collins, right tackle for the Cowboys, and maybe another pick, and then we release Brian Winters and sign Larry Warford, I think we'd have a top 10, top 15 line in the NFL if we did that. Let me know what you think. Bye.
I would say top half of the league. I don't know if I'd go top 10. I think you're close to the top 10 at that point. But that would be drastically different. Like, that would be complete overhaul on this offensive line. It gets me excited thinking about that. Brian Winters, moving on from him would make sense. You'd free up $7 million. You take that money, add another $2 million to sign Larry Warford. And then if you were able to trade for La'el Collins, that's a top 10 right tackle. So you have a great right tackle, a great right guard, a great center, a solid left guard, and a rookie who you're hoping is great. That could be a really, really dominant line. That could be a really good line. That I like that a lot, Jack. I really do. That would get me excited as a Jets fan. That's for sure. Next up is Greg, and he wants to talk about Adam Gase.
Hey, man, what's going on, man? It's Greg from Wacom, New York. Quick question. So, obviously, going into year 3 of Sam Darnold's NFL career, we can say that Adam Gase really hasn't done much since last year. Yeah, you really can't blame it all on the coach, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of Adam Gase. I think he's not a very good play caller, like you said. I watched a lot of your stuff, and you made some pretty good points about how, second and 10, he's running on second and 10. Why not throw it? And then, okay, sweet, third down, 10 yards. All right, let's maybe throw it, and if you can't, then shit, I guess we're gonna have to kick it back to the other team. My question is, do you think that, I don't want the Jets to do bad this year. I think with Sam being healthy, he can, with, Denzel Mims and the guy from Tampa Bay.
Perriman.
I think right now, if the season happens, everything that's going on right now, hopefully we can kind of just get everything together. I'm not saying we're going to make the playoffs, but I don't want the Jets to lose, but I also don't want Adam Gase here in 2021. Do you think Joe Douglas at the end of the season, regardless of our record, let's say we do terrible, obviously I would assume that Joe Douglas is going to be like, all right, get out of here. Well, right. Let's say we do good, right? Let's say we go like 10-6 or whatever, or we do, we just do way better from last year. Do you think Joe Douglas is going to keep Adam Gase there if we do better than last year? Or do you think Joe Douglas is going to look at Adam Gase saying, listen, you're a bad play caller. Sam is calling the plays way more than you are. What's your thoughts? Again, I don't know, what's going to happen with the season, but do you think Joe Douglas is going to pretty much have Adam Gase here for 2021, regardless of the record? If he does really good, does he keep him? Maybe. I'm not sure. Let me know, man. Thank you.
Yeah, obviously I'm not an Adam Gase guy. I'm really not. But I think if he wins 9 games or more, he's gonna come back. It also depends on what the offense does. If the Jets go 9-7, they have a top 5 defense, but the offense is still bottom of the league, and they either don't make the playoffs or they get bounced in the wild card game, I'm all good, man. At that point, I'm all set. But if, for whatever reason, the Jets' offense really clicks, they're a top 15, they're around maybe the middle league in the offense, they go 10-6, they make the playoffs, maybe they upset in the first round, they end up in the divisional round, something crazy happens, then he'll be back. To me, if he goes 7-9 again, or their record gets worse, I'm good. I'm moving on. I think it would be a playoff mandate. But I don't think that's what the Jets are going to do. I think they'll look at it, and it all depends on how Sam Darnold will do. If Sam Darnold looks miles better and they go 8-8, then yeah, he'll probably be back. But if Sam Darnold is up and down, streaky again, doesn't take that much of a step forward, and they're 7-9, maybe they don't bring him back. That's the way that I would hope that they look at it. Next up is Travis from Ohio. And Travis, I love you. You get cut off in this one. I'm just going to play the first voicemail. We got to keep it under 3 minutes, man. We got to keep these things a little bit on the quicker side. Love you, Trav, but let's hear him out.
Hey, Matt. Travis from Ohio. Hey, buddy. With Jamal Adams, pretty sure he's using the playbook of every single person that wanted to get paid or to leave their team. Think about it. Brett Favre, Terrell Owens, Keyshawn Johnson, all those guys never got in trouble with the law, anything else, but maybe caused a little bit of things here and there, but never got in trouble with the law, just wanted to get paid, just wanted the team to be better, or in Favre's case, get out of training camp, but that's another story. But eventually all became, like, every ex-girlfriend anybody's ever had became too high maintenance for the organizations they were with. So it's almost like Darrelle Revis all over again, and the talent's there, but, what do you do? So with the stuff coming out about Gase and him not liking him, well, that's no secret. We all don't like Gase. So,
Agree.
But Greg Williams, he had to play from his playbook too. He had to get his guys back. I mean, who wouldn't? If you were a defensive coordinator, how would you not want him back? And I applaud him for actually standing up when nobody else would. All right, enough Jamal Adams. Warford. I've been reading up on a bunch of stuff, watching content, and the book out on him is he seems to want a lot of money, which is understandable for a Pro Bowl player, but that he's also slow. And now that may be whatever. We've had less talented people on our offensive line for years. We could probably still make room for him with having our cap space after the Trumaine Johnson and other deals, but it sends a horrible signal if we're signing players now, especially with all the money we allotted for our offensive line, and we aren't getting the deal with Adams done. So I just think it's, especially in the COVID era, when you can't bring them in to work them out or physicals, that type of thing, and Jamal Adams' deal is still not done and on the table and a huge controversy right now, I think it's a bad look. So, I understand all that, and plus all the money we've already spent on an offensive line. Lastly, it's
about to cut off
Alanis
soon.
Morissette would sing how ironic it is that Quentin Williams, a player for the Jets.
Okay. So essentially goes on to talk about Quinn's arrest and stuff like that. Appreciate it, Trav. On this one, I get where you're coming from on the not paying Jamal but paying Warford might look bad. I get it, but they still have other team control. That's my thing, man. I sound like a broken record, but that's my thing. He's under contract for this year. He signed a rookie deal in 2017. He knew what he was signing up for. Every single rookie in the NFL, especially a first-round pick, you know the deal. You're going to sign a 4-year deal. If you're a good player, you're going to get the 5th-year option after the 3rd year. Every team's going to do that. And they'll likely, more often than not, will pay you after your 4th year in the league. That's what should happen in this instance. Jamal, clearly something's wrong. Jamal doesn't want to be here. That's it. It's as simple as that. Jamal Adams wants to go elsewhere. I don't think there's any resolving that. I really don't. Last one's from Will from Dallas, actually, and he wants ironically, Will from Dallas wants to talk about how you could potentially keep Jamal Adams. Let's hear from Will.
This is Will from Dallas. First of all, big fan. Really love the show. You do a great job with it. Really appreciate all the news that you get to us. But I saw on First Take earlier this morning, Stephen A. was talking about possibly a way to get Jamal Adams to stay would be to fire Adam Gase and make Greg Williams the head coach, whether interim or full-time. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. And, go Jets.
Yep, appreciate the question, Will. So just to change it up, because I've kind of hit home my thoughts on Jamal a lot the last couple of weeks, but specifically on Greg Williams, I would feel comfortable with him in the interim role. I think if, let's say, I don't want this to happen at all, but let's say the Jets start 0-6 or something like that, and they fire Adam Gase. At that point, Gase and Dowell Loggins can get the F out, right? They're done. That's it. It's over. And at that point, if you want to say Jim Bob Cooter could be the offensive coordinator and Greg Williams can run the defense and be the head coach, yeah, I'll get through the rest of 2020. And then after that, I'm probably hiring either why am I blanking on Eric Bieniemy or PJ Fleck or Greg Roman, like someone like that after. I just don't. I think Greg Williams is a great defensive coordinator, and I would really like if the new head coach would then bring back Greg to continue to run the defense if that's what Greg wants to do. But I don't like Greg as a head coach. I think he is a very, very good defensive coordinator. But I think he's an okay head coach. And that's just my thing. I think some guys in this league are meant to be really, really good coordinators. And he's been in the league forever. He's had a ton of defensive coordinator jobs. I think he'd be happy just running a defense. He's essentially the head coach of the defense right now. In his world, that's perfect. It's a perfect setup for him. And I think in the interim role, yes, I'm fine with that. But long term, like saying Greg Williams is now our head coach, like going forward outside of this year, I don't know. I don't think it's really built for long-term success. But that's going to do it for us on episode 20. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.